Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to Inventory Management Portal. This is Raza and today is our lecture number 26 and the purchase invoice part number 7. In the previous lecture we have left with the purchase invoice and we have successfully moved the data from the HTML or PHP page to another PHP page with the help of the AJAX call. So let's start and have a look what we have today. Alright guys, so you can see here I have this save button. So when I'm going to click on my save button, first of all I have to get the purchase invoice. So let's go to the database and let me show you these details again. Alright, so you can see we have purchase invoice, and inside the purchase invoice we do not have anything right now, and you see here I have the two columns, that is the date and the supplier ID. So here I have picked up the date from the date picker from the HTML via jQuery, and then we have the supplier drop down. So I have picked up the value of the supplier drop down, that is ultimately the ID of the supplier, and you see here I have created an array and I have pushed the date and the supplier ID to the array purchase array. Okay, then what we have done, we have successfully created another array and passed the array with passed the values to the array with the help of the for each loop, because we have to pick up the table values. So inside this table, inside the t body tag, inside the tr, we have to find inside this this represents the current row. So this dot find, and find what? The td tag, and inside the td tag find the td that is placed on index number 1 and get the text of that td. So let me show you that table. So you see this is my table that I have dynamically created. So you see this first td is on the 0 index, and this second td is on the first index, and similarly on the second index, and third and fourth and fifth. So you see here that's the 0 and that's the 1. So product ID. So you see in this I have taken the product ID or the first or the second td, you can say, with respect to the index, and get the text and put it inside a multi-dimensional array on the 0th index, and then the td that is on the 10th location, I have got that detail, and then simultaneously I have picked up all these tds with respect to the table. Okay, so you see this this is recording right now. Okay, so you can count by yourself and you can verify with your code as well what tds you have and what are the index numbers that you should write here inside this. Okay, now how can I write these index numbers? Let me show you again. Let's go to the purchase invoice details, what things are required here. So let's go to the structure, and you see here the purchase ID, the product ID, the per price, the quantity. So I have used the same sequence. Ignore purchase ID for the current time being, and we have the product ID first, then per price, then quantity, then category, then size, then color. So you see that's the product, and then the next thing is the per price, and then we have on the 9th quantity, then category, then size, and then color. So I hope you understood this, why I have used these things and pushed inside an array. So it's basically a two-dimensional, or you can say the multi-dimensional array, and I have used a for each loop in order to get all the rows of the table. Okay, and when each row is accessed, on every row I have picked up all the tds along with their respective index numbers and passed it to a array that is purchase details, and it's a multi-dimensional array. After passing all the table details, the next step is I have used the AJAX call, and here I have passed the data to the purchase invoice, and then the method is the post, and you see that's my first array, that's the purchase array. Okay, for inserting into the purchase table, and then inside the purchase details I have passed another array, that is purchase details, and then when we go to that insert.php, let me show you that. Here today we have to do the work. So in the previous lecture I have manually demonstrated every index of the array or displayed them. Now today what I have done, I have simply included two references of my insert, update, delete and the connection, and then I have checked whether it is empty, the first array, and the second array is empty or not, or is set or not. Then what I have done, I have simply placed those arrays into arrays in PHP. So my first table is inside this, and my second table data is inside this. Okay, now what I have to do, after getting the first array, I have to insert it. So for that purpose, what I can do, I can simply write here insert underscore update underscore delete. That's my function, and then that's coming from the crude.php we have discussed in the previous lectures. Now let's go to the stored procedures and pick up the purchase invoice stored procedures. So insert purchase invoice. Let's copy and come here and paste. I'm doing it again a little bit because in order to give you a rhythm or sequence so that it's easy for you to understand. So now the next thing that I have to pass is the array as per our function. So PIARR, and then the message. I don't want to display any message, so just leave it blank. So that's one case. Now what I wanted to do, I wanted to pick up the last ID. So we can get the last ID with the default built-in PHP method, but unfortunately we are using stored procedures and we are using our own functions. So what I can do, I can get the last ID by myself. So let's create a variable that is query is equals to, and then come inside double quotes and write call and the procedure name, that is the last purchase ID. So let's go to the stored procedures and last purchase ID. Here it is. Let's click on the edit, and you see this is the code for getting the last ID of the purchase invoice. So okay, when this query will execute, so how can this query will execute? Let me write here $res is equals to MySqli underscore query, and then it asks me for the connection, and then the query is inside query variable. So this is how the query will be executed. Now when the query will execute, I know that it will give me one result only, so it is not required to add a while loop here. Just write raw, a variable, and then write here MySqli underscore fetch underscore raw, and then the result is this res. So whatever the result is executed has been executed is stored inside this res, and then we have fetched the raw from the res and then stored inside raw. Okay, now what we can do, we can simply create a variable, let's say purchase id is equals to, and we can simply write here, because the data is coming in the form of columns, so we can get the first column that is on the 0th index. The first column will give me the ID of the purchase invoice. Now when I get the ID of the purchase invoice, the next step is to specify the details, or to pass the details to a for loop, because we have the table in order to insert inside the purchase invoice details. So for that purpose, I'm going to add a loop for $i is equals to 0, $i is less than a variable that is count, and I'm going to count my second array, that is PID-ARR. So PID-ARR, so how many number of rows I have, it will run till that count, and then I++, and then come inside. Now the next step is I have to insert the record inside this. For that purpose, first of all, I'm going to write a function that is MySqli underscore next underscore result, and I'm passing my connection here. Why? Because when we are dealing with multiple queries that run together on a single connection, we have to specify this function MySqli underscore next underscore result, so that it can free the connection and use for the next query, because we have already used the connection here. Okay, that's why. So that's why the first thing that I've done here. And now the next thing is, after specifying this, let's call the query variable again is equals to, and then I need to call the insert purchase invoice details. So let's come here and insert purchase invoice details in the procedures. This one, click on the edit, you see, copy this, and you can verify these columns and the queries, okay, so that you cannot make any mistake. So copy this one and paste it, and now one by one I have to pass the values. But before passing the values, let us get the values from the array. So how can I get the values? Let's create a value v1, or we can create the value with the name, let's say product ID. So let's come here and give here pro ID is equals to, and how can I access the value from the array? So my array name is PID-ARR. Okay, So can I write here PID ARR of, so first thing is the raw and the second thing is the column. So that will become my first zeroth index. So you see this I is representing the raw, the first raw of this array PID ARR, and then the first column. One more thing that I have to pass here is the purchase ID, and we have already taken that purchase ID. Okay, so that's my first thing. And then after product ID, let's copy this and paste it 5 times almost. Now after product ID we have the per price, so let's make it per price. Then we have the quantity, so let's write here QUA, and then we have the category, size and color. So category, size and color, so respectively I have specified all the things. Now you know that we have used the sequence, so the per price is on the first column, then the second column, then it will be third, and it will be fourth. Okay, so this is how we can do the stuff. Now one thing that I have to specify here, I have to utilize it. I think I have skipped something, let me check. 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, so these are the 6, so that means I need to pass 5 values. So 0 1 2 3 4, that these are 4s. I have skipped one. So pro ID, let us check. Pro ID, then per price, then quantity, then category, and then size. Okay, and then here we have specified, okay, that's the mistake. I have to write here like this. Okay, so that's the 5th one. Okay, so all the columns I have mentioned from my this PID ARR. If I show you again, you see 0 1 2 3 4 5, and that's the same thing I have done here. I have accessed these columns 0 1 2 3 4 and 5, and this will become the raw, because we can have multiple details in the purchase invoice. Now the next step is to pass these values, but the first column that we have inside this table is the purchase ID. So the purchase ID is inside this variable, so let's first write here purchase ID. Then the second thing is the product ID, and the rest of the things are respectively in respective manner. So PP, then we have the QUA, quantity, and then we have the category, and then we have the size, and then we have the color ID. So all these are the IDs basically, and that's my stored procedure. So let me write here $query is equals to this one, that's my query, and now I wanted to execute this query. For that purpose I am simply writing here MySql if MySql underscore query, and here it asks me for the connection, so that's my connection. And you see this is a for loop, so this query will run for multiple times, so that's why I have cleared the connection first, then I am using the connection again, and then the query. Okay, so if this query is successful, then what we can do, we can simply create a variable that is $count is equals to 0, let's say, and just when the query is executed successfully, so let's add $count plus plus, okay, equals to $count plus 1. Okay, so I have added 1 inside the count if it is successful, and then the next step is, after doing this all, we have to write here if condition, if $count after the loop, okay, is greater than 0, that means we have inserted something or some rows, and then we can simply write here echo $count, okay, in order to get the records, and we can do the concatenation, and then records added successfully, and then else let's copy this message and paste it, and let's change the message to unable to add purchase details. Okay, so you see what has happened here. First of all, we have get all the details from the two tables right now. First table is this, and we have inserted inside this first table, and then we have called the last ID of the first insert, and then we have passed that last ID to the second table insertion and all the details, and I have executed created a for loop and executed the loop for the number of times, the number of rows it has, and then simply I have called that stored you can say the stored procedure for the insert purchase invoice details, and passed every, you see when the first time the loop will execute, this will become the 0th row. When the second time the loop will execute, this will become the first row, and then the columns remains the same. Okay, there is no need for nested for loop, because we know that we have the number of columns fixed and defined already. Okay, but if you wish to specify the loop, you can, no issues. For your understanding, I have done this. Okay, so now when this loop will successfully execute, what will happen? It gives me whether the records will be there successfully inserted if this executes. Otherwise, if it is remains to 0, that means that we haven't inserted any details. Okay, and so that's the two table insertion still, and we have to go a lot of far more in this case, because we have to add stock, we have to add other things also, we have to make the ledgers as well. So let's go to the purchase invoice and first check whether it is working or not. So you see, let's select today's date, and then the supplier is Naeem, and then category, and then size, and then color, and then product, and then quantity is 12, per price is 50 rupees, and then total is this. Okay, so that's one row. So let's click on the save button, but before going to the save button, let me show you what happens. So when the data will gives whatever we have echoed, let me show you that. So this is the thing that we have echoed. Okay, so this will come here inside the label. Okay, and I have displayed that label and show that inside on the page. Okay, so let's click on the save button. So you see it says that one record added successfully, because we have one row and there is no other message for the purchase detail. That's what I wanted to do. So let's go to the database, close this, and click on the purchase invoice. Let me show you purchase invoice. So you see we have the purchase ID. I have tried for 98 times, guys. So that's the thing, that how much efforts are required in order to do a single task. And you can see the date is there, the supplier ID is there inside the purchase invoice, and the ID is 99. So let's go to the purchase invoice detail, and you can see here 99 is automatically the last ID was returned, and then I have passed that 99 to the next table details, and the per price was 50, the quantity was 12, and then the IDs from the database are coming. So I hope you got this point, guys. So now let's go and try one other, so that we can be able to verify whether it is working for multiple rows or not. So 12, supplier is, let's say, Umair, and the category is trouser, and the length is this, color is red, product is denim, quantity is 100, price is 30, and total is this, first item. Now let's pick up the shirt, and small size, and blue is the color, denim is the product, and quantity is 45, and the price is, let's say, 150, and add item. So now I have two records. So let's click on the save button. So you see now two records inserted successfully, and when I go to the database and just refresh this, so you see now on the 100th ID, the ID hasn't changed, because in the purchase invoice we have the record for 100, and based on that 100 I have two records inserted inside my purchase invoice detail. I hope it is clear to everyone. Now the next step is we have to pass the stock table. We have to insert inside the stock. So let's click on the structure, and you see here I have to pass the product ID, I have to pass the quantity, and I have to pass the purchase ID. So you see product ID, quantity, and purchase ID, we already have this, okay, inside the insert. Let me show you that. Okay, at this point we have the product ID, we have the purchase ID, and we have the quantity. So when we are doing this, we can also add another query for executing the result, and for that purpose we can use the multi-query function of the PHP. So let's try that. We can do it separately, but it's better. So let's write here $query query dot equals to, that's the concatenation assignment operator, and then I wanted to call another procedure, that is call, and I wanted to insert inside stock. Okay, so for that purpose let's come and select the purchase invoice details, procedures, and insert stock. So you see this is the insert stored procedure we have created in the previous lectures. So let's copy this insert stock and come here and paste it. Now here I have to pass three things. The first thing is the product ID. So the product ID is inside $pro ID. Then we have the what we have the quantity and then purchase ID. So the quantity is inside QUA, and then we have to pass the you can say the purchase ID. So purchase ID is this, so $purchase ID. Okay, that's it. Now the next thing is we have to change this method, that is multi underscore query. This is the function that can be utilized for executing multiple queries within the connection, and we have already released the connection here. Okay, so save this, and now we have to check whether it is working or not. Okay, and one thing that I need to specify here. Okay, let's first check whether it is working or not. So let's go to the purchase invoice and refresh, and let's select the date 13. Supplier is Kamil. Okay, select shirt because I don't have any t-shirt data right now. So large, blue, denim, 10, 10, add item, another item, trouser, length, green, denim, 4, 4, add item. So I have two items now, save. So you see it says that unable to add purchase details. That means we have some issues inside the code. So unable to add purchase details, that means here is some issue. Okay, so the issue is the semicolon. Yes, because we are adding two queries together, so in order to separate these two queries we have to add semicolon at the end, and here also if I add multiple queries again. So let's try to check it now. Alright, so let's select a supplier and trouser and length and green and denim, quantity is 100, per price is 25, and add another trouser but length is this, color is red this time, denim, quantity is 500, per price is 20, and add. So let's click on the save button. So you see two records added successfully. Now let's go to the database and go to the stock. So you see now the product ID is there. Okay, the product ID is 1 and the quantity is this, but we have to make sure that the color of the product should change, or the color ID should be there, because in order to differentiate the stock we have to add one more column here inside the you can say this table, that is the color ID. And we can, if we are adding the color, then we can also, we should have to specify the categories as well. So this is the mistake that I have to correct, but I'll do that by myself, and I hope you can also do this by yourself. And one more thing, that is the product price table. So you see inside this product price we have nothing right now. So whatever the price is, we have to add that price as well inside the product price. That's another table. that we use to insert product price. Okay, and then we have to add the ledgers, so ledger customer and ledger supplier. So we use the supplier ledger because we are purchasing from the supplier. Okay, so product price. Here also we have to add certain columns, because only with the help of the product ID we cannot be able to judge which product price, let's say the small size and the medium size and the large size, so which product is that. Okay, so we have to add those references also here inside this table. So let's go to the stock and go to the SQL, and let's add a column, alter, let me zoom, table stock, add, and the column name should be st underscore, let's pick up the category ID, and I have to verify the column details. So let's click on the categories and go to the structure, and you see the category is integer. Similarly, let's open the sizes. So let's go to the structure, it's tiny integer. Okay, and then we have the colors. So right click and open with new tab, and here you can see in the structure we have integer. Okay, so only size is of small tiny integer, otherwise the two are the integers. Okay, so let's come here and alter table, add category ID, and it should be integer. And the next thing that we have to do is, yes, that's it. And another column, let's try to add that st underscore size ID, that should be tiny integer. Okay, it will not accept this right now. Okay, let's try to add this column, copy and paste and paste. So this should be the size ID, and this should be the color ID. Okay, and now execute this. It is tiny integer, and go. So you see things have been successfully executed. Let's go to the columns. Now I have these columns, but I have to make this references as foreign key columns. Okay, but let's first go to the product price and add these details there as well. So SQL. So what I have to do here, again alter table, and the name is product price, add the product price. Okay, so pp underscore category ID integer semicolon. Let's copy this and paste it and paste it. It should be size ID tiny integer, and it should be color ID, and it's integer. Okay, so 3 columns. Again copy and execute. Commands completed successfully. Okay, and now let's go to the stock again and go to the SQL and write here another query, alter table. I'm doing separately because to make you understand what's going on. The table name is stock, add foreign key, and then the column name is, because that's my stock, so st underscore category ID references, and here I'm going to specify the category table categories, and then the column name is category underscore ID. So let me write here category underscore ID, and then on delete cascade, I've already discussed what's this, and on update cascade. let me go a little bit right now. Okay, so cascade. Okay, so that's the foreign key reference for my stock and the categories. If you wish to create the reference for relationships, that means that if I delete the category, its stock will also be deleted. And if you don't want to delete the stock, if the category will delete, then you have to specify no action at on this case at this place. Okay, so let's check it out. In the categories table, we have cat underscore ID. In the size table, we have SI underscore ID, and in the color, we have color underscore ID. Okay, so let's go back to the query and execute this. Let's copy this first because we need it, and paste it below. And here I need to alter the table stock, and I wanted to add a foreign key again for the size ID. Okay, and the references table should be sizes, and here I can add SI underscore ID, and the same is the case. Okay, second query, paste again, and here it should be after categories, after sizes, we have the colors. Okay, and color underscore ID, and it should be color ID. Okay, so add foreign key with the, on this column, and colors and the size, and then so on. That's that's the code for the stock. Let's copy this and paste it below. For we have the you can say the next table, that is a product price. So product price. Okay, copy this, paste it, and paste it. After giving the product price, the next thing is to add the references to the alter table product price. Then pp underscore category ID, pp underscore size ID, pp underscore color ID. Okay, so let's go to the product price, open it, and structure. So you see pp underscore category, size, and color. So these are the three columns. Okay, and then it should be referenced with these three tables, and that's it. So let's copy this all. Okay, let me zoom in so that you can be able to view more better. Execute. So you see commands completed successfully. Now I can be able to insert hassle free inside this stock and the other details. Okay, so I have added three more columns. So after the purchase ID, let's go back and go to the stock. Sorry, here we have already. So structure, and you see after the purchase ID we have category, size, and color. So come here and let's specify the category, then the size, and then the color. Okay, three things. Similarly, when we are going to add this, we have to specify the price for the product every time. So let's go to the product price again, and you see inside the product price, where is that? Here it is. We have the product price and everything, but we do not have the purchase ID. Okay, so let's go back here and add another query. So dollar query dot equals to, and here I'm going to pass another procedure that is called, and let's go to the database and stored procedures and insert product price. Here it is, and I have to edit this, and you see I have only two columns right now, so I have to add parameters, three more parameters, 1, 2, and 3. So the first thing is the category ID, then the size ID, and it should be the tiny integer type, and then we have the color ID. Okay, and I have to pass these details. So pp underscore the next column name is after the price is, okay, let's go to the purchase table. Where is that? Here it is. Okay, So price, category, size and color. Okay, so pp underscore category id comma pp underscore size id comma pp underscore color id. Let's verify the spellings. Cat, size, color, id. Okay, that's fine. So 3 columns. Now I have to pass these details: cat id, then size id, then call id. You have to be very specific with the spellings. Okay, so let's execute this. Commands completed successfully, guys. The stored procedure has been modified. Insert product price. So let's copy this name, or open this again and copy this, insert product price, and come here and paste. And now here I have to pass every detail, but not the purchase ID. So pro ID first of all. So first of all we have pro ID, then we have the next thing is the price. So where is the price? Per price, pp. So pp, and then we have the category ID, so cat, then size, then we have the color. Okay, so 3 things so that I have added inside this. So now this should also execute, and there is a semicolon at the end, so you should specify a semicolon because we are appending these queries inside this single query, and it will execute multiple queries. I hope it is clear to everyone. Now save this. Now we have inserted inside the stock, we have inserted inside the product price. Let's go to the database first, and now go to the purchase invoice and remove all the purchase invoices so that you can be able to see proper data. Okay, remove, yes. Okay, because I have referenced now, so okay, it shows me error. Okay, let's go back, and we have deleted everything right now. This is the problem, because okay, no issues. Let's go back. Let's go to the stock, and inside the stock, first of all we have to delete this all. Okay, deleted. Now let's go to the purchase invoice, and now select and delete. Okay, so you see the references helps us a lot in order to maintain the records. Okay, now because my purchase invoice is empty, my purchase invoice detail is empty because they are referenced, and then my stock is empty, and my product price is empty. Okay, everything is empty. So let's go to the purchase invoice, refresh the page, and now let's check what's the output. So 12, supplier, large, red, denim, quantity is 100, per price is 50, and total. And now we have to add the trouser. Okay, let's select the shirt again, but the size this time should be medium, and the color is green, and the product is denim, and the quantity is again 100, and the per price is, let's say, 45 rupees, and add. So you see now I have 2 similar shirts. I have shirt, okay, but the category is same, but the color is different, the size is different. That's why I have added those columns. Now click on the save button. Hopefully it will work. So you see 2 records inserted successfully with the help of the AJAX call. Now let's go to the purchase invoice first. The hierarchy that I have maintained, you see the ID is 103, purchase invoice details, 2 records, stock. Okay, so inside the stock we haven't insert. Okay, yes, the problem is I haven't changed the insert stock stored procedure. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, and the product price, okay, it's also not inserted because of the error. So let's go to the stored procedures and modify the insert stock. Okay, this one. You see I have only 3. I have to add further columns. So the column names, let us check. This should be closed. Okay, stock. So st underscore cat id, here I have to add st underscore cat id, then st underscore size id, and then st underscore color ID. So these are the 3 columns that I have added and 3 parameters. Okay, so cat ID, size ID and color ID. Okay, so 3 columns and I have to add it: cat ID, size ID, color ID, 3 things. So let's execute this. Insert stock. Commands completed successfully. Now you see I have already put these things here, but that was the problem because the error was generated. Now insert stock is there. Insert purchase product price. Let us see whether we have done this. Yes, we have done this. Now let's remove the things again. Delete everything. Yes, and go to the purchase invoice details. You see automatically it is deleted. Stock was empty and the product price was empty as well. So now let's check it again. So commands completed. Okay, so large, color is red, product is denim, quantity is 100, per price 100, and add item. Category again shirt, but this time medium shirt, but green color, and the quantity is 100, sorry, 100, and the price is the price was 100 and this price is 90. Okay, so let's add. Now click on the save button. So you see it says that 1 record added successfully. Let us check why. Let's go to the product price. You see one product is added, but the other product was not added. We'll verify that why. And the stock, you see one stock is added, and inside the purchase invoice we have this 104, but in the purchase invoice details we have this 1 record. Okay, so that means that the second time the query will execute, but it is not successful. Okay guys, so that's another issue that we have now raised. I think one of the problem that maybe occurred. Let me show you that. You see the problem here when I have added records. So you see it should not add the record if the record is same. Let's say if I have added the same record, let's say the product ID is 1, okay, the price is any, and the category is this, the size is this, and the color ID is this. So you see these are the 2 duplicate records. Maybe that is an issue. Okay, so I'll try to figure it out in the next lecture, but hopefully you have learned today how can we add multiple table records together with the help of Ajax in PHP and within MySql. So I think we should stop here because the time is about to end. So keep practicing these things, and if you find these things helpful, do like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel, and do press the bell icon for latest tutorials. Thank you so much. Take care. Allah Hafiz, and we'll see this in the next lecture. Thank you.